May I come in, sir?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Parikshit.
Yes, sir.
Who was Parikshit?
So Parikshit was a mythological character in Mahabharata who ascended the throne after Yudhishthir abdicated, and he was the son of Abhimanyu.
Yeah. And, good. This university, where is it? Yeah. Rashtra Sant Tukroji Maharaj Nagpur.
Yes, sir.
What is that? Who is this person actually?
Sir, Tukroji Maharaj was a saint of Maharashtra who actually worked for rural development in Maharashtra, including agricultural improvements, various ill practices like child marriage, etc. He also worked against these. So he was named as
a social reformer.
Yes, sir, social reformer.
When did he live?
Sir, he was around in 1940s, sir, first half of the 20th century. First half of 21st century or the first half? Sorry, sir, first half of 20th century.
Yeah. Who were the other social reformers who lived and worked in Maharashtra?
Sir, Baba Amte, he worked for the upliftment of scheduled castes. Apart from that, sir, various other saints were there.
You are from Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who is Kavikula Guru? Your institute is Kavikula Guru, Institute of Technology and Science.
Yes, sir.
Who is
Sir, he was Kalidas. It was a title given to Kalidas, who was a poet in the Gupta Empire.
Yeah. Good. Now, have you heard about the privileges of members of the legislature, parliament and assemblies and all that?
Yes, sir.
What are they? What exactly are these privileges? What do you mean by privileges?
So privileges are of two types, both to individual members and to the House collectively. And these privileges, they are modeled on the which were present earlier in the British system, parliamentary system. These allow the members and the House to act independently. These have not been defined anywhere, but they are based on the various conventions.
Act independently means what?
So it means that they should be independent of any external pressure, and they cannot be pressurized by any outside party. It was earlier to make sure that the king didn't interfere in the parliament, British parliament's functioning, and they were continued in India as well.
So far as the privileges of parliament are concerned,
yes, sir.
Where do you find it in the constitution?
Sir, I don't remember exactly the article which.
What does it say? You must be having some idea about the main privileges of members of parliament.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So some of the privileges are that first of all, they cannot be arrested while the session is going on. They have been given some immunity regarding civil cases as well.
No, you said they should not be arrested during the session.
Yes, sir.
Suppose an MP kills somebody.
Yes, sir.
Will he not be arrested?
He will be, sir, but after the permission of the Speaker or Chairman of the House.
From where? I mean, suppose he kills somebody outside the house.
Yes, sir.
Outside the parliament compound.
Yes, sir.
And then they have to get the permission of the Speaker.
So as far as I think, such a similar incident happened as well when some criminal case was pending against some member of the legislature, and the Speaker's permission was taken to arrest him or her. I'm not remember exactly the incident, but such a thing I've read about, sir.
So far as criminal cases are concerned, members of parliament or members of the legislature, other legislature, have no immunity. Yes. They can be arrested. Only thing is that within the premises of parliament, if a member of parliament is arrested, they have to, the police has to take the permission of the Speaker.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And Speaker doesn't deny permission, you know.
Yes, sir.
That is how it is. But I asked you about the main privileges which are mentioned in the Constitution, because that's very important.
Sir, I'm not able to remember right now, sir, exactly the provision.
Freedom of expression.
Yes, sir.
A member of parliament can speak freely, without any fear, without any inhibition. He can speak on anything and in the manner he likes.
Yes.
He is not liable to be a prosecutor for defamation or anything if he speaks in the House. That is the main thing.
Yes, sir.
And he can vote as he likes.
Sir.
And he cannot be hauled up before a court of law by any individual for voting in a particular manner.
Yes, sir.
These are the main privileges which are enshrined in the Constitution of India. You must clearly understand these things.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, that is the thing. Have you heard about sedition?
Yes, sir.
What is that?
So section 124 of the Indian Penal Code, it provides for sedition in which if certain acts are done through expression or word of mouth or written, which incite dissatisfaction against the government, then that amounts to sedition. And these has been questioned in the court, this provision has been questioned in the court because of its alleged misuse or extra zealous use by the law enforcement agencies.
By the?
By the law enforcement agencies, law enforcement.
But which section it is?
Sir, section 124.
124.
Yes.
124 what?
Sir, I'm not sure IPC or CRPC, but I think IPC, sir.
IPC means?
It's Indian Penal Code.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It provides, Indian Penal Code provides for the major crimes are defined in it and the punishments as well, and CRPC provides for the criminal procedure which should be followed by the courts.
So, how did this confusion occur actually? You are confused between the IPC and the CRPC.
Sir.
Sedition is a substantive offence.
Yes, sir.
Which is defined in the IPC. So, IPC is the defining, is a penal
Yes,
code
which
defines the offence.
Yes, sir.
That's the thing.
Sir.
But I am not very satisfied with your explanation about sedition.
Yes, sir. Sir, sedition was brought in during the British rule when the Britishers wanted to.
No, it's okay. I didn't ask that question. I asked you about the ingredients of this sedition.
Sir, sir, sedition actually covers any word written in any newspaper or any speech which is given in any public place, and even on any social media. If any post is posted on social media, that also is covered under.
About
this.
what?
So about dissatisfaction against the government, which brings the government under dissatisfaction.
Bring the government into?
A dissatisfaction among the citizens against the government. The word is dissatisfaction.
That is the word which is used in the IPC in section 1.
Sorry, sir.
What is dissatisfaction?
Sir, that is the vagueness which causes vagueness. This word actually.
It is not dissatisfaction. The word used is disaffection.
I'm really sorry, sir. I'm really sorry.
Well said.
The word used is disaffection.
Really sorry,
There are two things. One is to bring the government into contempt.
sir.
Or attempt. Even attempt is okay. That is one thing. The other is to cause disaffection
Sir.
against the government. These are the two main ingredients. You know, when you read these things, we must understand what exactly it is and what are the main ingredients of this section. I asked you this question only because sedition is being used against people very indiscriminately, and all that in spite of there being a Supreme Court judgment which says that it should be used sparingly. Only when there is a violence or disorder it should be used, but that is not how it is being done. Your first preference is IPS.
Yes, sir.
So that means you have great interest in the police force.
Yes, sir. Currently, I am undergoing training as an RPS officer in the Rajasthan OTS, sir.
What is AFSPA?
So, Armed Forces Special Powers Act is a law which was brought in to give special powers to the armed forces to act in areas which were deemed disturbed. These are the power to arrest, the power to seize, and the power to search any premises without warrant. These were earlier given to the police forces but not to the armed forces. Hence, this act was brought in to give these powers to the armed forces when they were being sent to these disturbed areas.
What are the things which the armed forces can do under this? Once an area is declared as disturbed,
yes, sir.
what are the things which they can do? One is search.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any time without any warrant.
Yes,
And
sir.
then?
They can arrest anyone without a warrant, and they can even seize certain properties or objects which they deem necessary. They can seize them as well under this act. Yes, sir.
That is all.
Yes, and they can use force as well, which
Force means?
so they can even fire at someone if they believe that it can cause.
They can shoot and kill.
Yes, sir. They can shoot to kill. Yes.
That is what you mean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Parikshit, I just want to know,
Yes, sir.
you have a BE in electronics,
Yes, sir.
and electronics is the flavor of the moment globally.
Yes, sir.
And what motivated you to abandon a sunrise profession like electronics for a police service? I mean, what is it that went through your mind?
Sir, during my graduation years, when I talked to seniors, interacted with them who were already in the private sector, they told me about the things which the private sector offers, and they are very lucrative. But sir, I thought when I delved deeper, I believe that I want to work in the administration, sir, because of the various issues which I see around me in our country. I don't want to be dependent on others or wait for others to resolve these problems. I want to work from them myself, work to resolve them myself. Hence, I thought, sir, I would better work for administration, work in the administration. That's why I changed the stream, sir.
So, if I get your ambition right, in terms of the role police plays in, in facing the challenges the nation faces, and you being a policeman, prospective policeman, do you have in mind certain challenges that the police has? For example, statements are made that police is a handmaiden of the political leadership. They just go by what the political leadership tells them to do. So the noble intents that you just enunciated may not actually work in practice. So related question is, what reforms would you suggest for the police? Number one. Number two, even investigation in India, like the CBI is often referred to by the media as a caged tiger, So, can you sort of answer to both these questions that I have raised?
Sir, police has to work under the guidance of the Home Ministry. So, to that extent, direction and control of the elected representatives is necessary, but beyond that, it is not at all a problem, sir. And sir, reforms you asked, first is that at the recruitment stage, we need to improve the recruitment process, especially for the lower rung in the services, constabulary and sub-inspectors. And there is allegation of corruption as well, if we need to work on that, sir. Second part is training. The training curriculum in our country, I found that in my academy as well, that's most stress is on theory. The theory portion is highly stressed. And when I just searched online regarding the police manuals of USA police, a state of the, I think Oklahoma or some Omaha state was there. And so those manuals are very citizen centric, while our manuals, they are more related to crime and law and order management. But their manuals in the United States of America, they were about the people, how to take care of the people. That change needs to be brought in. And so third is regarding the postings and transfers. The directions given by the Supreme Court in the Prakash Singh judgment, they need to be implemented better to make sure that the postings and transfers are out of the political influences. And so second, sir, I forgot the second.
On the CBI,
sir,
being a completely independent body, yes, because it's a national level investigative agency and has so much power.
Sir.
So should it be like an independent authority like the Election Commission, for example? What do you recommend?
Sir, certainly, sir. Strengthening the CBI will only improve our fight against corruption and other economic offences and other special crimes which the CBI takes care of. I believe so it will be a good step, and especially if it is put under the supervision of Lokpal, then it would be better, sir.
While you appear for the interview, one of the members of the panel says, Parikshit, I know nothing about anthropology. Would you like to explain to me simply what is anthropology and what are the various schools of anthropology?
So anthropology is a subject which deals with the evolution of human being as a biological being and as a cultural animal. Cultural animal means how the society are developed, how our social institutions like marriage, kinship, family, they developed in our evolutionary history. So second is we also study about the variations in human, for example, various climes and races which we read and talk about. We read about that. Third is, sir, various issues faced by our tribals in our country and worldwide. We read about them as well. Further, the impact of environment on us and our impact or environment. These things we can study under the subject of anthropology. Main branches are biological anthropology, physical anthropology, archaeological anthropology, socio-cultural anthropology, epidemiological anthropology, and so on.
Okay, last two questions. What are the three elements as a policeman? You are one of the instrumentalities of governance at the state or the central level. What are the three or four principles of good governance?
Sir, can you please repeat the question, sir?
What are the three or four key principles of good governance?
Yes, sir. Sir, to my mind, first aspect of good governance is that policies should be made on objective data and objective outcomes which we want. First is that's the policy formulation. Second is implementation. It should be done with utmost transparency and using various electronic technologies which we have right now, using ICT, etc., to make it better. And so third is outcomes must be well defined and outcome based governance. Sir, if I could give an example, if we're talking about nutrition, then output based governance could be how many Anganwadis did we build, but outcome based governance would be how many students, how many children we brought out of stunting or say wasting. That is outcome based. And so fourth aspect is grievance redressal. If some citizen is not getting the benefits, intended benefits of a scheme, then there should be a well defined mechanism which allows him or her to resolve her grievances. These are the four, in my mind, sir, these are the four pillars of governance.
I would also like to consider perhaps another factor, rule of law.
Sir.
Should governance also involve strict adherence to the rule of law?
Yes, sir. Yes,
no matter how much value you may place on outcomes and policies and various other measures.
Yes, sir.
That's all. I'm through.
You are now presently in the Rajasthan Police Service, right?
Yes, sir.
When did you join?
Sir, in December 2021.
Because the DAF doesn't mention it. So I was just wondering what you were doing since when? Since 2013? Yeah.
So this exam was conducted in 2018 and then the joining came in December 21.
So it could not be reflected here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And of course you belong to Rajasthan.
Yes, sir.
Now you speak very well. You participate in debate, competition, all that. When you write keeping abreast with current affairs
Yes, sir.
and diary writing, tell me what exactly, what does it actually mean?
Sir,
Let's talk about diary writing. What is diary writing? What do you do about, what do you write in the diary?
Sir, in diary writing, I mention, for instance, I write every 2-3 days and I write about whatever major events that happened within the 2-3 days. And also I write whatever new things I learnt. Maybe I read somewhere or I met with someone, I talked to someone. I mention all those things. And then I further write what learnings can I take from all these things. Because one thing I've observed that in life when we face similar challenges over time, we are reinventing the wheel every time. We face similar challenge, we go through the same process.
Correct.
But if we could somehow cut that process short, then it would be very beneficial for us. So
you write in a diary with pen and paper, or you type on the computer? What do you do?
Sir, I use my smartphone. Electronically, I write the diary, sir.
Electronically?
Yes,
so
sir.
what does it mean? You dictate?
Yes, sir, I can dictate, I can type as well.
No, when you dictate, then how does it gets lodged in some database or it's transcribed? So what actually happens when you do that?
Sir, it is actually transcribed.
It transcribes, okay.
Yes, sir.
So you can maintain a full record.
Yes, sir.
Since when have you been keeping it?
Sir, I started way back in class 9th and 10th. Then during my college years, I stopped. Then I again resumed it around 2016 or 17.
So reflect a little bit on your life. How has the life changed over since the time you were in class 9?
Sir, in my class 9th and 10th, I was a young student and I was learning new things. Then I came to the hostel.
As an individual,
Yes.
as a person, I mean, you as a person, your personality, how it has changed since class 9?
Sir, I was sent to hostel in class 9th.
Huh.
And when I came to the hostel, it was an entirely new life for me. I had to cope with the various issues which one faces in a hostel. And after that, I entered college, sir. There was before entering college, there was a drive about getting into good colleges, and I gave exams. Then I got into a college, then college life came, and then career decision. And then I chose to prepare for civil services, and this preparation, sir, it brought a lot of changes in me.
Like what?
Sir, for instance, first of all, I developed a better understanding of how things work around me, right from politics of our country, political institutions of our country, economy of our country, economy of the world, and various provisions with the government. I came to appreciate how much the government does for each and every one of us, and how much more that can be done. So I developed an appreciation of all these things.
No, but generally, people, the older generation say things are getting bad. They're getting bad to worse. I mean, how do you answer somebody who says things are getting from bad to worse?
So there's a saying, if I could say that,
please.
if there's a sentence that we are living in the best of times, an optimist would be, an optimist would also say that, and a pessimist would also say that we are living in the best of times. That's so bad. But I believe, sir, things are improving a lot, sir. If we look at how previous generations survived, the facilities which were there, now we have air conditions, now we have a good drinking water.
No, people are becoming more impolite, they're becoming more fractious, they fight a lot more, there's less discipline, there's vigilantism, there's violence in the villages, like you read in the newspapers, elections being fought based on violence and that sort of thing. You think these are, I mean, if these are the current situation as compared to the past, do you think there are changes for the better or for worse?
Sir, to my mind, sir, these things already exist in our society. Okay. These fractions, these. So
the trend has been basically same. It hasn't changed.
I think they have reduced because of the law and order, better law enforcement, better policing, better administration. These things have reduced, but due to social media, these things get highlighted more often, and there's a human tendency, and the media also tries to highlight the negative things, the shocking things which shock us.
So that is why their perception has changed. Perception has changed.
The visibility of these things have increased.
The perception has changed. Sir. So change perception, does it affect human thinking?
It does, sir.
Thinking?
It does, sir.
So when you discuss with your father, how does he, I mean, how does he look at these developments?
Sir, my father, he often says that things have improved very much for the better.
Good, excellent. So now, what current affairs actually interest you?
So anything which enhances my knowledge, sir. I don't stick to any particular subjects as such, but sir,
some subject must be of interest to you. Some some area would be of interest to you.
Sir, for instance, so economy interests me, international relations, things which affect people around us.
Right. So economy. I mean, okay. So economy interests you in what sense? Anthropological sense, sociological sense, or purely economic sense?
Sir, in the sense that how it impacts our world in an entirety, not as a subject, as a discipline, but how the impact of economy is on our. Sir, for instance, a few days back I was reading on the Time magazine an article about how machines have due to AI, and machines have already, since I think industrial revolution, machines have been replacing human labor. But due to AI, the trend has changed, because now no new jobs are coming up, because the AI is also taking up the new jobs which could come up. So I read about this, so I found it interesting, sir.
I see. So technology on society and economy is what interests you, right?
Sir.
Right. And how do you see this, the international competition in terms of technology? Because now people say, in fact, you find it in Ukraine and elsewhere, or between US and China, that if you are not well up on the technology side,
yes, sir,
then you might come under another country's domination.
Sir.
You think so? You agree with that?
Sir, technology does play an important role, sir. And although, given the current global scenario, the UN is there, plus countries, they have their own interests. So I don't think domination of a country is possible on the other. Entire domination is possible. But still, technology does play a great role, sir.
No, like data localization is now a big issue.
Sir.
We say data should localize in India, even if the foreign companies are working here. The Americans say no. The Chinese have already done that.
Sir.
So how do you assess this situation? I mean, you keep hearing statement, the data is now the new oil, for
Sir.
example. So how do you understand the implications of statements like these or developments like these?
Sir. Sir, are you asking about data localization? Should I talk about data localization?
Data localization, yeah. So the various Amazon or this Microsoft, whoever, these companies, the servers are based in US, but we
Sir.
say your server should be based in India, for example. You
So data
understand?
localization is important because our data can be used for multiple purposes.
Like what?
So for instance, it can be used for policy formulation. It can be used by corporates for targeted advertisements, for creating new products. That data can be used. That data can be used to influence our political opinions.
So you're a police officer for blackmail.
Sir.
If, example, you are a police officer,
Yes, sir.
if your personal details are held by the Chinese or by the Americans,
Sir.
somebody can approach you and manipulate you,
Sir.
blackmail you.
Yes,
So
sir.
the government officials or senior figures in the government or society get compromised.
Compromised, yes, sir.
That's a very big thing,
Yes, sir.
you know.
Sir.
So what kind of, let's just give me, because you take it to the current affairs, just analyze for me the global impact of the Ukraine conflict and also its impact on India, on Indian interest.
Sir, so the impact of Ukraine conflict, economic if we talk about.
No, overall conflict.
Sir.
Just assess the impact of conflict.
So should I go, I'll go sector wise if you permit me, sir.
Global, I mean the total impact, let's say, okay, whichever you want to proceed. The
Sir.
global impact of Ukraine conflict.
Sir. So it will have a multi-sectoral impact on
No, what effect
SBs.
is it having now?
Sir. So the economy which was coming out of the COVID crisis, that recovery has stopped. It has slowed down because of the Ukraine conflict. Commodity prices have increased, fuel prices have increased, and we can see the impact in Sri Lanka, sir, as well. Because due to rise in the energy prices, the electricity shortage happened, and that increased the dissatisfaction against the government. So that sort of impact we are looking at, sir. Second is, sir, politically, if we talk about, the world is getting divided into two parts or three parts. One is non-aligned, who do not align with any of the party. That is happening. Third is a new arms race will start because of the.
In what areas of arms? What areas of arms?
Sir.
What areas of arms?
Sir, I believe especially the missiles, the long-range missiles, missile defense systems, they will be more, and sir, cyber crimes as well, cyber warfare, that also will become a major important. These are the impact on global. And in India, we talk about, sir, again, sir, defense, because rising rivalry with China and Pakistan, how it will play out, that is an issue. Second is, sir, in economy, our recovery, it has again been affected because of the rising energy prices. So all these impacts are on India, and India has to maneuver now. Third important challenge for India is India has to maneuver now between Russia, USA and other Western
But
powers.
is India in a sweet spot as far as Ukraine crisis is concerned? Because the Russian foreign minister coming here,
Yes, sir.
the Chinese foreign minister coming here,
Yes, sir.
the British foreign minister coming here, the Dutch foreign minister coming here, the deputy NSA of USA coming here.
Yes, sir.
I think they, and whole lot of these people, practically everybody is turning up.
Sir.
So that makes that, and PM had a meeting with the Australian Prime Minister, the Japanese Prime Minister came here. So when you take all that into account, would you say that India is in a sweet spot or India is in a tough spot?
So India is in a sweet spot because almost every major power wants India on their side. Almost every major power wants India to cooperate with them in fulfilling their interests. So that shows India's growing stature, and also many options available to India. I think, sir, we are in a good position.
So India is in a position to bargain better, or India is being pressurized from every side? I mean, if Lavrov is coming here to talk to us,
Sir.
what is he telling us?
Sir.
He's saying, you don't fall in line, we'll stop your weapon supplies. The
Sir.
Americans say when they come here, like this deputy NSA came here, they don't listen to us, we will put sanctions.
Sir.
So are we in a sweet spot or tough spot?
Sir, everyone is trying to pull their leverages on us, but we also have leverages on all the powers. Sir, for instance, Russia, we are one of the major buyers of Russia. Russia's share in the global arms export, it fell from 21, 24 to 19 just because India diversified a few percentage points. 4 to 5% drop was there in Russia's exports. So that shows how India commands Russian exports as well. So we have a leverage there. Second is the USA. We are a major market. India is diversifying. We are a major market for US defense exports. So we also have leverage. Third, USA needs us for its pivot to Asia policy or the Quad. So we also have leverage on all these countries.
Malabar exercises.
Sir.
You don't Malabar exercises.
Yes, sir.
Okay, continue.
Sir. So India also has leverage on all these issues, sir.
What about international balance of power situation currently?
Sir.
Is it in our favor or against us?
So the global balance of power, India, I would say, has not become a major player, but we are on our way.
If we are not a major player, why is everybody coming here?
Sir, because our strength is increasing. We are not a major player in terms of how China is or how US or Russia is. We are not that, our quantum of strength is not that much, but we are an emerging player. And
but we are strong enough that people want to talk to us. That's the point. So why are not a major player? We're a major player. You don't think so?
So I think, sir, we can go much further than where we are.
Okay, thank you. I finished.
Yeah. All right. We have taken anthropology as a subject.
Sir.
Have you heard about a concept called participatory observation?
Yes, sir.
Who was the exponent of it?
Sir, I can't remember the name of the scholar who propounded it. Participatory observations. It was done on a study in the Trobriand Islanders. I'm not able to recall the name of the scholar, sir.
Malinowski.
Malinowski, sir.
Okay. Talcott Parson was a structuralist or a functionalist or both?
Sorry, sir. I do not know, sir.
You have got a thought paper. One paper is an
Yes, sir.
anthropological thought.
Yes, sir.
You must have handled it. All right. I'll just ask you, because you are a policeman now. You are also an electronics engineer.
Sir.
Technology makes a lot of things happen. Good things happen.
Sir.
Sometimes bad things also happen.
Yes, sir.
One of the bad things is the emergence of the surveillance state. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Because there is technology. And police, as a policeman, we would like to have better surveillance, we will have better information, etc. But it also compromises the privacy of people. So what is your stand, and how far you should go, how far you should not go, and how do you control it?
So the Indian Telegraph Act provides the power.
Telegraph Act, forget about it. Telegraph Act stands superseded in a manner because recently there is an Act on data privacy has come out. Okay. Yes. 1882 Telegraph Act will no longer work. Yes. And also the technology has changed. You don't need to ring up to telegraph department and tell that telephone department that we will tap these phones. You will tap nevertheless.
Yes.
Okay. So what is your take on it? How far you can go, how far you cannot go, and what is the optimum mix kind of a thing, and what are the safeguards?
So there has to be rule of law. There has to be a prescribed procedure of how tapping or how surveillance can be done, because without it, then it's a slippery slope, and that is not good for a democracy. We need to have proper mechanism in place.
But the question is, if technology allows you not to leave traces, not to leave footprints, and you can do it without seeking permission, without recording it, etc., who will do it? No one will do it. You can, in a city, you can put the closed-circuit TV cameras, CCTV cameras. You can say that I am doing it for traffic, but you are really checking upon everyone.
Sir, I think, sir, for such an issue, we need to have some basic ground rules clear. So first is whatever the surveillance powers the state has, the law enforcement has, that should be put under one department, and that department could better be monitored either by the legislature directly or by certain bureaucrat as the need may be. Second is regarding the cameras in public or other public surveillance tools, there should be some rules as to that they cannot go beyond a certain point which could affect citizens' privacy. For example, a road is a public place. any other public office is a public place, their cameras can be put, but they cannot be put in such a manner that they could be used to look into someone's house or someone's private area. If these ground rules are observed, then we can tackle with this problem of untraceability.
That's all, or because this is a very deep subject.
Sir.
You must have heard about one question was in sedition, that is 124A,
Sir.
section 124A. I think am I right? 124A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. In fact, I wanted to point it out.
Okay.
It's on 124A.
Okay. Well, sedition. There is some law called UAPA,
Sir.
Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. You must have heard about a young lady, young girl, almost a teenager, being put in the jail under the UAPA Act. And UAPA Act is so strict that there is no
Bail, yes.
bail. And courts have started saying that we are stenographers, we can only do stenography act work. Okay, if that is the case, how do you think about a legal provisioning of this type which hems in a citizen? How do you think about that? And what's basically what happens is your freedom of expression, freedom of association, everything is challenged.
Yes, sir.
Really, if you put these laws together, everything is challenged. How do you look at it?
Sir, we need these laws and these surveillance tools are need of the hour because of the rising threats. So cross-border terrorism, we are facing cross-border terrorism. We are facing domestic insurgencies there in certain parts of our country. Naxalism is a major problem. We need all these laws and tools to deal with these situations. But the question arises of preventing its misuse against innocent citizens. So for that, police needs to be trained to make sure that they do not use it in.
Is training everything, or despite training everything can happen? The Stan Swami
Sir.
was a simple guy. Okay, he died in the prison. Is it not because whoever framed him was not trained? He was probably wrongly trained or overly trained. So training is not the answer. Answer is what is the locus of the establishment? What does the establishment want these laws to be used? And if that is the case, everyone becomes a monster.
So I think so that is why the agencies which implement or which carry out the implementation of these laws, like police and judiciary, they need to be made stronger. They need to be trained better. They need to be provided with better tools to make sure that even if any vested interest wants to misuse these laws.
No, this is specifically misused by the police. And you want them to be empowered.
So judiciary is also present, sir.
Judiciary is present. What is the point if they hear a case after 3 years, sir? And take 20 years to give a judgment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Justice delayed is justice denied. So we need to.
So judicial system as a real-time system is questionable. Police is a problem. And you are telling that you strengthen the police. What is the focus of democracy? Is the citizen or a government department or a government personnel?
Sir, it is the citizens.
Right. Okay. It is not a government department or a government functionary.
No, sir. It is the citizens. These laws also must be used to ensure safety of the citizens.
Exactly. But the point is, if it is not used, what we have been able to do during the last 4-5 years? Nothing.
So we need to bring reforms in the system.
Okay. All right. One thing, when you are talking about policy,
Yes, sir.
you said several things, and I think Chairman pointed out about the rule of law.
Yes, sir.
The resolution of conflict
Sir.
is a major driver of policy. If a policy is made which exacerbates conflict, that's not a good policy.
Sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Like many things which can increase the conflict.
Yes, sir.
So that could be a problem. And I just wanted to leave it with you.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Parikshit,
Sir.
in fact, I will just make 1 or 2 points. First, I must say that you speak with a lot of confidence. And very pleasant face. You are a good, very
Articulate.
good personality.
Thank you.
And all that. And you are the right kind of person for this civil service, particularly the Indian Police Service, because that is your first choice.
Thank you, sir.
And so you are in a very natural form. You don't seem to be under any kind of tension. These are all very positive things.
Yes, sir.
Then when I come to your replies to various questions, I get an impression that you seem to be in a little hurry. With the result, you don't grasp the essential things in certain areas. For example, I asked you about sedition. I asked you about the privileges. You have a hazy idea about things. You say so many things, but without actually telling the real thing. That is a problem which you must get over. When is your interview?
So 11th April.
11th
Yeah,
April.
only few days away.
So it is too close. But otherwise,
I'll revise the basics again.
but the essential things, which you should know. Now, for example, you said about sedition, you said, what is that? Dissatisfaction.
Yes, sir.
That, you shouldn't say this, because that word is not there at all. It is disaffection. So there is a lot of difference between dissatisfaction and disaffection.
Yes, sir.
That you must understand. In a hurry, you skip many things. Perhaps the most essential thing. That is the thing. That is what is going to be tested. Whether you know the essential things of things. That is it. A civil servant, if he doesn't know the essential things and he just skips over it and then moves over to things, can't flit about. So you must understand what exactly the real meaning, the real sense of these things, whether it is sedition or whether it is privileges. Privileges also, these are constitutional provisions. You were not able to pinpoint those things, those very essential things. The freedom of speech in Parliament. That means a person cannot be hauled up for defamation for what he says in the House. He gets that kind of a protection. But if you say it outside, certainly you will be hauled up before the court for this defamation or libel or something. That is the thing. That is the thing which I have noticed in you. So be a little attentive to details. Grasp the details. Whenever you come across a problem, grasp the essentials.
Sir.
That is what an intelligent civil servant should do. Grasp the essential. Only then you will be able to address the problem. That is the only thing which I wanted to tell you. Otherwise, it's okay.
I think my colleague has already addressed some of the points I had noted. Actually 2-3 questions you were evasive. And even if when one has to repeat it, sedition, not well done, slight confusion between IPC and CRPC that came out for a person who's under training at a police academy in Rajasthan. That's a bit unusual. Then WAPA also, you could have added, for example, some states have, like the state of J&K has a PSA, Public Safety Act, which is worse than WAPA, because you can put a person behind bars under PSA, and there are people who are there for 23 years. Even when the court says release him, he goes out of one door, the revolving door is such, in the afternoon he's back in the same jail from where he was brought for justice before the court. So I'm afraid even the I will try and put the negatives first so you can act on them, then I'll give you the positives which will help you address the negatives. You see, very specific question, impact of Ukraine conflict on India. Okay. The economic point you said, immediate, fuel prices have risen, inflation has gone up, and that's fine. Now, then you jumped on, as Mr. Achari said, because you're in a hurry to address the subject, then you jumped on to long-range missiles, cyber security. That's well pre-Ukraine, it's also post-Ukraine, those are settled issues. They know it. The board are very knowledgeable people. They know. So when you repeat what is common, then you don't gain a point there. But I would have been happier if you had addressed the issue of whether we are in a sweet spot or a not so sweet spot more analytically. You know, this is the sweet spot. This is the not so sweet spot. Well, we have that as a standing problem there. Let me sort of end with 2 or 3 positive. You, as Mr. Achari said rightly, you are a very natural speaking personality. You're very articulate. But I'll tell you the negative side of that articulation. You're in a hurry. You're not deliberate. You seemingly not cogent. When your narrative is running through, there is a little mismatch. So just think about it. It doesn't matter. This won't take you months to do that. Just 2 hours reflecting on it, talking to yourself, and where was the mistakes that I made, and I'm sure our Sri Rams will also guide you in that sense. So I would think, to put it very bluntly, add gravitas to your personality. So you're sitting, yes sir, these are the points, these are the plus points, these are the negative points, and don't be in a hurry, because then you almost tending to rattle out. You're tending to rattle out. What you rattle out is not meaningless, but don't rattle out.
I could structure my answers better.
Structuring should be far, far more better. And I think if you work over these points which have been made, you should be doing much better than you have done so far. I'm quite confident of that.
Thank you.
We should be a little brief now, huh?
Yeah, thank you. So, already I will not repeat what has been said. You'll wear a suit on that day, no? You'll wear a suit on that day, correct, yeah. So, you're engaging, you articulate, but as I've said, a little up here, a little more reflective, more analytical and more policy oriented. On foreign affairs, already has been said, I think there's still time so that you can actually improve general awareness, particularly as a police officer. When I ask you a question about data compromise and all that sort of things, so they are real issues which are in everyday's news. So that balance of power has already been, because all these things today, all analysis which you read actually does speculate on these issues, how they actually, these balance of power, how they're pressurizing, putting India under some kind of pressure. So I would suggest that annual report, the Ministry of External Affairs, there's still time. So you can pick up the key phases, how to express our policy. Public diplomacy website, if you go through, you'll find a lot of the former ambassadors' speeches and all that. One international newspaper, New York Times, if you read, make notes, even Indian papers, make notes and link up with your DAF entry so that you know where you stand. So that actually is important. And when you make notes, then you can do a little bit of Google search to get more background, okay? But you articulate, just keep these things in mind. I think you have a very good chance. But I don't want to pump you up. I think you have to work hard.
Few things.
Don't be under the impression that anthropology, which you took as one of the optional, we have scored well and come to the interview stage and that's passed. No. It is, the umbilical cord is still there. So you will be asked some questions there. So that's number one. Number two, you may not get any question on police, etc. But once people come to know that you are in the police, it obviously there will be questions with regard to surveillance state, there will be questions with regard to certain provisions of the law which have been recently brought in or recently used more frequently, etc. You roll it in your mind, discuss and this thing, so you come out with the least damage. Okay. You cannot turn around and say that, look, everything should be a human rights state and the police should be, we should take it away, etc. These powers, we should take it away. That's fine for discussion, but the point is not for the interview, because that will not going to happen. But you will have to come out with a modicum of sanity in this thing, not this way or that way, but some kind of a modus vivendi, which is both convincing at the same time, citizen-centric and human. That you will have to roll it in your mind, because you may get some question. That's all I wanted to.
Thank you. Thank you. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.